Okay, how about we jump into this week's Q&A? What do we say, friends?
Yep.
Welcome back to the Independent Podcast. Nick, what's up, man? How you doing? How you
Popping,
feeling?
baby.
What's
Dude,
what's new in your life? Not a damn.
stomach bug.
What's that?
Had a stomach bug. I got sick. Then a week later, I got sick again.
Oh, that's right. But you're feeling good now.
We back, baby. I
Well,
just had some dots.
some dots.
The
I don't know if you
pretzels.
ever had.
Oh,
Have you ever had LaCroix?
Oh
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Assuming you've had LaCroix. I can't assume you're a fan of LaCroix.
This
Have
Like,
you
I
seen
know.
those
I'm
TikToks of LaCroix where they like take a blueberry and just like puff the scent
Yeah.
onto the can?
Oh, too funny. Yeah, I'm not a
This,
fan of sparkling water in general. But go on.
there are a couple ones that are okay, right? Like, no one drinks them for the enjoyment, I don't assume. Like, they're just like, I want to be healthy.
Bree does.
No, like,
Dude, key lime hits
really
different.
though.
True.
All right, so maybe right there might be a flavor of one brand, okay? But this, whatever this is,
What is it?
What are you drinking?
it's LaCroix, but it's like
Oh, it's like
LaCroix is like
a certain flavor.
it's not the flavor. It tastes like when you foot fall asleep.
What?
I think you're describing carbonation.
Yeah, but the way that this is carbonated, I think it's too much
Nick,
and very little
where'd you get
bubbles.
it from?
Target, what does that have to do where I get it from? It's
We're just making
they're
sure it's not like gas station
no, no,
LaCroix.
no. It's like little. I think the bubbles are very small, and there's a lot of them.
I
And I
really
think
hope
other
that
ones,
whoever's
the
listening to
bubbles are
this
bigger.
episode is finding value.
All right, so welcome back to the Independent Podcast, a podcast made by independent artists for independent artists. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback from these Q&As and
Yeah, it's
about
been
these Q&As.
amazing.
So we're just going to do these as often as we can. And Bree has a whole new set of questions. Let people know where they can ask questions if they have some for the
Yeah,
next
you can
episode.
pretty much just ask on TikTok or Instagram, and if I see one that is good to answer, pretty much, I will add it to the next episode.
Sweet.
Yep.
Let's jump into it.
Nick, you ready?
Born ready, baby.
All right. This question comes from TikTok. Are buying features worth it?
Oh, Nick, have you ever bought a feature? I never have.
Um, yeah. Are they worth it? No. Because I think what the question is, right, is if there's a bigger artist than you, like let's say 500,000 monthlies or something, and this person is 25,000 monthlies or blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. They're thinking, is me buying that feature going to be worth the cost to gaining fans or gaining listeners or whatever? And the answer is simply no. It's not worth the money because usually, right, that's gonna be like what,
Couple
thousand
thousand.
bucks maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000, 1,500. I don't know. It's just and no, the answer is not worth that. What we should do with that $1,500 is go make really creative TikToks and promote your own music. You'll make way more return on that. Um, but there is a way where potentially, if you really like the artist and you would love that experience, it might make sense. Is you pay enough because there's different price points for people. I'm sure one would be, hey, this is my feature. I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to co-release. I'm not going to post it. I'm not going to blah blah. You just have me on the song. Now I'm sure there's an amount of money where they would take or for a co-release for them to put in their story, for them to make a post about it, for them to maybe even create content for it. Those are two different price points.
And
So
for anybody listening who might not know what co-release is, can you explain that?
yeah, co-release is instead of just a feature where it says, let's for example, Connor Price featuring Nick D. A co-release is it is released to Connor Connor's release radar, people who follow him on Spotify, and my release radar, people who follow me on Spotify. So it goes on my Spotify account and his Spotify account instead of uh just his or however
Right.
that was.
So that there would be two primary artists instead of a primary artist and a feature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's like one of those things that we say, like, it depends what your goals are. Like, don't expect buying a feature to pop off your career, right? Like, maybe
Hmm.
sentimental value if you really like the artist, or like Nick said, if they're going to post it on their story, like, that's cool promo, but just don't put all your eggs into that one basket.
It's not gonna. Now, I was talking with someone who is planning to spend a bunch of money on features, and maybe after he does that, I'll ask him how it went. And And we'll see. But he's got over 1 million monthly listeners already, and I think he's trying to like spend money on like bigger artists than
Right.
that, then see if and I'll come back to it after that. But I'll ask him how it goes. But
Have you ever charged for a feature?
good question. Oh yeah, I did one, or maybe
At what point in your career did you do this feature? And if you don't mind me asking, what did you charge?
um
Excuse you.
I went away from the mic. It did not help.
The compression just made it all louder. No, I'm just teasing it.
Um, it wasn't like a random that hit me up. It was somebody that I had met in person, and he said, "Hey, I got, X amount of dollars for you," and I said, "Sure, I'll do it." So it wasn't like somebody like a legit email and blah blah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a price that I would charge. I don't remember how much he sent me for it. Um, I did. I paid for a feature one time. So, for example, I have a song called "Slide" with Foggy Raw. Um, Foggy Raw's super dope. He hit me with his price. I don't want to put his price in case he was doing that for me or something.
Yeah.
But he hit me with a price, and this was, before Fine Apple. So hit me with a price, and he said, "I'll take this, or I'll take something like 30% of the master or
Mm,
something like that." And I said, I'll just pay the amount because I know the upside of if the song does well. And I know I'm going to be the one more heavily promoting and doing majority of the work. So I took the risk, right, of paying for the feature outright. And then the song now, I don't know how, maybe 1.5 million streams. So I definitely made the
return on investment.
I
Yeah.
made the return on investment.
It's a
Yeah.
good way to look
So
at it.
so that's how I would always do it. Is I'm not a fan of giving up percentages, but I'm sure you guys know that by now.
Yeah.
I saw Russ in an interview recently talk about how in his whole career he's never charged for a feature, and an artist he's worked with has never charged him for a feature. So
Hmm.
his mindset is always just, if I like the artist and I like the
Yeah.
song, I'll jump on it. And then vice versa. So that's another interesting way to look at it, is instead of an exchange, a transaction financially, if you
Yeah.
just connect with the artist and you guys like each other and the music is cool, jump on the song, and then the other person might return the favor. It's sort of that's just another way
Yeah.
to look at it.
And it's different. Like for you and I, when we release, we just split it down. We split it down the middle, right?
Right.
Because we have the understanding that we're each gonna be promoting the song, posting content. We
Yeah.
both have a following. We both, blah blah. So, um, my biggest thing is the work, which is why I rarely give percentages because I know that person's not going to work as much as me.
Right.
But if I know the person's going to work as much as me,
Mm,
or even more sometimes, then the percentage will. I'm happy to do that, but
totally.
usually it's not the case.
Well, props to you then, because the first time we worked together for Nobodies, I probably had 70,000 monthly listeners. You were around 2 million.
I just think he thought you were a good guy.
And what I mean, but still, it's cool because you probably saw a potential in me and my career, and so you agreed at that time to split the royalties of the song down the middle with me, and you shared it with me. So thank you for that.
I mean,
Um,
it's the exact same reason why I knew you would apply the things I was sharing with you.
mm,
Like I could see that you were working. That's very clearly you were working. You were just working a little bit in the wrong way.
right,
You
yeah, with the
just,
remixes. No,
yeah,
totally.
you just needed to be where like the work was there. Like
Right.
I knew it wasn't like, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. I just had to focus it on the original music. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Okay, while we're on the topic of percentages, it's a perfect segue into the next question.
yeah.
What would you say is a pretty standard deal when working with producers as far as sharing the profits? Sometimes I see outrageous requests.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of outrageous requests from producers.
I think the
I
one
had
thing, sorry to cut you off, Nick. I think the one
yeah,
thing we can
go.
start with, because this is kind of generally agreed upon, and I've never seen anybody really, disagree with this, is on the publishing side, is that
Yeah.
the producer or producers and the artist or artists split the publishing down the middle.
And come to find out, somebody, a industry manager person, told me it's not even the case. Like, for example, since I, if I find a loop on Splice or something, I then am a producer. So the producer shouldn't get that whole thing, right? If they're just putting drums on it or putting drums or bass, like I'm the guy that found the loop, so I then am producer. If I throw in an idea like, "Hey, I want four on the floor," I then should be getting part of the
Mm.
production
Interesting.
royalties as well as. But because I always work with Graham and we're friends, I don't have any headache about that. I just do it,
And
split it.
with Splice, those loops, the original producer who made the loop that you discover, they don't get
They get
any.
nothing. Yeah, they're royalty free.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
how do they get paid? Is that through Splice?
Well,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
okay, okay.
I feel like you guys went off track a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry.
Uh, and I also want to go listen to the Cato episode. And then there's an episode somewhere where, I don't know if it's released yet, where didn't I really go in on why uh, I don't like to give splits to producers?
Oh yeah, and then you kept saying, just to be clear, I take care of my producers.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
yeah,
in
yeah.
that's in the Echo episode. That hasn't come out yet.
That's not out yet.
Okay, all right. So look out for that episode
Yeah.
then. Then you'll know it'll really break down this question. But we can keep going on it. But
Yeah. Let me just like go back to the question to
Sure,
reel
sure,
us
sure.
back in, because publishing I think is a bit farther
Yeah,
down
yeah,
the
fair-
road.
fair enough.
So just like, what would you say is a pretty standard deal when working with producers as far as sharing the profits?
Okay, standard, man, on master, industry standard on master is 3%.
Right. And,
Industry standard.
and they would call that points.
Points, 3 points on the master, three
Yep.
out of the 100,
Yep.
right? So that's industry standard. Now, a lot of producers nowadays will be asking for upwards of 50%, right? They're like, I made half the song, you made half the song, I should get 50%. Now, in short, I'm not okay with that because once the song is done, the producer's job is done, right? Which is why I like to pay them for their service of creating the instrumental, and not like giving them 50% of the profits of the work that I will be doing to promote the song,
Right.
to perform the song, to push to create content, I pay for the mix and master, I pay for the cover art, I pay for the distro kid to release it, I pay for I pay for everything.
Yeah.
And I pay the producer an upfront thing for the beat. And you still want a percent just for watching me work and hoping I blow it up. That's kind of my take on that in short. But yes, there are like I was gonna read this. So this dude sent me, said I changed the way I sell beats. I'm only doing unlimited streams, not exclusives anymore. For unlimited streams, it's $100 and 25% of the master. And I said, splits on a master? Because he didn't say that. He said, yes, sir. I said, I don't do splits on a master, especially not 25%. I prefer to buy my stuff outright. I appreciate your time, though. Your stuff is super dope. Keep creating. And he left me on red.
Ooh.
And I'm assuming it was like, oh, this guy's one of those guys that doesn't take care of his producers or something.
Yeah.
And here's my thing with producers. If you want more money, charge more for your beat. If your beat is worth that much money, somebody will pay it. Charge $1,000 for a beat if you want to. You're probably not going to sell as many because there's a lot of producers out there. I'm just saying, if you want your 3%, I don't mind you asking for your 3%. I give Graham a percent, right? I spoke on that. I give him upfront money. I give him more than that. And if a song pops off, I send him more money. Like I take care of the producer, but
Yeah.
But if we're talking standard industry, like
industry standards 3%.
yeah, and then I
3%
think
on the master and whatever they want to charge
I
for
think
for an
because
advance.
there's this whole world on especially TikTok now where producers are actually making their own content. A few I can think of: Maddie Beats,
Yeah.
Lexnor, Kato.
Yeah.
It's like maybe those are different because they're gonna work. They're gonna
Early
promote the
on-
song too.
Yes, early on I did a song with Maddie and I gave him a bigger percent because he had as equal a TikTok following as I did at the time.
Me too. With receipts.
and
Yeah.
and we both created content. He came down and filmed a music video with me in Virginia. Like, he put in work.
Oh wow, I didn't know he did that because we did the same
Yeah,
thing with in Las Vegas for receipts. That's cool.
Maddie's a
yeah.
hustler, man.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
yeah.
saying, and
I
that's
think
he earned that.
yeah, and that's even more reason why producers should focus on creating a brand for themselves and creating a following, so that when time comes
Yeah,
when they do collaborate with an
They can
artist,
use it for leverage.
they have leverage to say
yeah,
like, hey, let's make content together. Let's do an open verse
yeah,
challenge. I'll help you promote it so that you feel like they're bringing value after the song is out and not just
yeah,
making the beat.
Cool.
yeah. That's facts. I had something else, but I forgot it.
That's okay. If you think of it, we can come back.
I won't.
Okay, cool. So, next question. Thoughts on lyric vids? Do you think every release deserves one?
Yes, I do. I
Yeah.
don't do them. I should. I
Yeah,
think.
I had that thought recently too when I was listening back to the episode with Nick from the YouTube channel Bangers Only.
About music videos?
Yeah, well, specifically about how he was saying, this was him talking. He said, I've been noticing that lyric videos are getting a lot more traction recently. Because when people look up a song, they
Hmm.
want to know the lyrics. They want to know what's being said. And so they're more likely to write Nick D. Pineapple lyric video.
Well, because we did a segment on why we don't think every release deserves a music video, but this is different
Yeah,
because
they
the
don't.
work and the investment put into a lyric video is nowhere near.
I
Yeah.
mean, you could outsource it on Fiverr. I'm sure there's people who are doing it for like $5 to $10 per video, where you send them the MP3, you send them the lyrics, and they'll create a very simple lyric video. But really, that's all you
Yeah.
need. You don't need anything, crazy with 3D animations every time a word pops up and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You just
Yeah.
need like almost a karaoke style video.
I actually think I replied to the comment and said, yeah, every release deserves them. We as a team need to do better at that, actually.
Yeah, like I've just been like every time I have a new song come out, I always post it on YouTube because that's just another way for people to see it. Some
But
people,
how do you post it? What do you mean?
yeah, so I just post an image of the artwork and the audio, and that's it. And I'll just call it like, Connor Price and Nick D Gasoline official audio.
I bet
and
if
I'll
you
put that in
added
brackets.
lyrics, it would get like 3 times the amount of views.
Well, I bet it would because I've also noticed other YouTube channels like music sharing YouTube channels post my music and they put lyric video and their
Yeah.
video gets more views than mine.
Yeah.
And so that's making
Yep.
me realize, maybe I should start putting more time into when I do post a
Always.
video on YouTube, put it as a lyric video.
Always.
All right. So
Cool.
short answers. Yeah.
Yeah, do it. I'm going to start doing it.
All right. 1 second. I'm looking through these questions and I'm trying to see what's a good next one.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna do it if I outsource it, but
Yeah, like Fiverr
Oh, this
or
one's good.
yeah.
All right. Do you think approaching music with such a business mindset, i.e., focusing on streams, prioritizing content, can
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sacrifice some of the art?
Yeah. Sure. Sure. Absolutely. But what's your goal? That's what I always boil it down to. What
Yeah.
is your goal? Is your goal to be a critically acclaimed album artist, right? Like you're creating just great art, Um, or is your goal to make a living off making music? I think, and this is also independent, right? This
Mhm.
is all these opinions come from an independent artist. It's much harder to gain traction being the super artsy artist than it is to be a business minded independent artist.
yeah, I couldn't have said it better. I think like you said, what's your goal?
Like, basically, if you have a big label behind you, too, maybe you can take more time to focus on the art side of things. And this isn't to say that we're like, oh, put out crap. We still care about what we put out. It's just we
Yeah.
don't obsess over it and we don't like hold on to releases if something's ready to release because our priority is building the catalog, making a living off of music. Period.
And so here's the tough part. I just thought of this because I don't like sacrifice my morality for a business decision.
Mhm.
Like I don't do that. Um, and because I think maybe that perspective can get skewed a little bit of like it's more important to be business minded. It is, but to the extent, right? Not, and we're saying done is better than perfect. We're saying stop getting in your own way, create content, promote your music. It's not cringy, promote your music if you want to make some money. And I'm just saying, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
You know what
it's
I'm saying?
also like you still care so much. Like, you
Yeah.
send us your demos and you're like, how can I make these lyrics better? Or Connor sends a song and you're like, oh, hook's fire, but it could be catchier if you do this. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
I
We're still
actually,
grinding on that part.
yeah, I don't see a part of your guys' creative process that sacrifices art.
Yeah, I think people might think that it's either you're all the way in on being the creative album artist, or you're all the way in and being
Yeah.
just the business focused artist who doesn't care about artwork. But I think there's a balance, and you just have to figure out where on that spectrum, where in that scale you fall. Because if personally I was all in on the idea of just being the business minded artist, I would take in every feature that came in my email because they offer
Right,
me a
right.
certain, but a lot, like 99% of the times I don't like the song. And so I'm like, I don't want this to be a part of my catalog. I don't want to be on this. So even though they're offering me a few $100s, whatever the case might be, I'm going to respectfully say, hey, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
And so there still is a balance of like, maintain your dignity and creative identity.
We also got a lot of feedback, I'll say, on the art
Oh,
thing
the
where we
artwork
said
one.
like,
Yeah.
don't obsess over art. And again, it's like, guys, we're not putting out crap on
Yeah.
a stick. Like,
Yeah, look at either of our
we still
artworks.
pass our artwork back and forth. Nick is like, hey, this color works better. Connor's like, I think this works better. It's just they're not obsessing over it to the point of not releasing a song because they're such perfectionists.
Yeah.
And I will say this: most of the people who had something to say about it was just another artist.
We're graphic artists, of
yeah.
course,
You
and
click
I
their
understand that.
profile and the bio is graphic artist. I'm like, well, yeah, that's your career. You don't
Yeah.
want us to be talking
Yeah.
down on it, which we're not. We're just saying, yeah, it's hard to touch on these topics.
Well, I guess what? Yeah, if you're gonna do art, you want great cover art, and you choose to outsource it. I guess what I'm saying is, don't do 100 revisions on that thing.
Don't
like
do 100 revisions, and also don't spend a bunch of money on it
Yeah,
if you're looking at the independent music career
it's the business part.
as the
Like we're
business
giving
part. Correct.
business advice. I'm
Yeah.
not telling you how to be the artist you want to be. I'm not telling you how to be create the best art that you want to. I'm just giving you practical business advice.
One thing you told me early on, Nick, was like, think about how much money you're investing into a song. That's
Oh,
from
yeah.
that's from the
Have I
production.
talked about this?
No.
That's from yeah. Do you want to
Yeah.
jump in then? Because you can explain it well.
Well, here's the thing. When at the beginning, what I did was I wanted $250 on the process of making the song. Every song, my budget was $250. So that's beat, mix, master, cover art, blah blah blah. Now I've upped it. It's like $500 or something. But before it was $250. So I would typically find a beat anywhere between uh $100 to $200, right?
Yep.
My mixing at the time was $50. So $100 to $200. If I spent 200 on the mix, 200 on a beat, 50 on a mix and master, then I would make my own cover art.
So you were spending 50 on the mix and the master.
Yeah, mix and
Wow,
master,
that's
50
that's
bucks.
amazing.
And like I said, if I bought a more expensive beat, a $200 beat, then I would make the cover art myself because I didn't want to go over $250 because I knew how many streams I needed to get in order to break even on my investment.
Right.
And this is how I'm thinking of it. Like, and I don't know, the streams might be like for 250, it's like 50,000 streams or something. I'm not sure, but I knew if I hit 50,000 streams, I'd break even on my investment, and every stream after that was profit.
Yeah.
And I knew that was more realistic for me at the time to try to just get 50,000 streams. That was my budget. Now I can obviously, when I release every single song I release does 1 million streams in the first month, I have a more flexible budget, but I'm still not out here like I want my profit margin to be higher.
But this is what I'm saying. This is what's so amazing is you're an artist with over 2 million monthly listeners. You're doing crazy numbers, and you are still spending $500 max per song.
Yeah.
People probably assume because of how successful you are in this music industry that you have studio time, you're spending thousands of dollars, that you're outsourcing your artwork for hundreds of dollars, that you're getting this perfect mix and master from this mixing company and you're spending hundreds if not thousands of dollars when you're not, because you've found an efficient way to create your product, which at the end of the day is how we have to see our songs as independent artists if we're looking at it from the business
You
perspective.
have to. That's the thing. You have to. If you want to be a successful, profitable small business owner as an independent artist, you got to move like a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I view it is the independent artist is the business, and the songs are the products.
Yeah, the songs are the products. The fans are volunteers to help like get more people to come in and I mean really like Mike said it the other day I saw a clip of Mike saying it, formerly known as Mike Stud.
Oh, Mike Stud. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, he said this in one of his podcasts, and I've said it the exact same way. He articulated it very well. If you go to his page, you can find it. He also posted it on his TikTok, I think. But he was saying like every song you put out is like real estate. He was like,
I saw this video. Yeah,
you're
yeah.
buying a piece of real estate when you put a song out, right? You've spent money on creating it, however much that is, and then it's generating you income. Like you have a renter almost in that real estate house, and it's generating you revenue. Some of these songs you put out turn into Miami mansions, you know, and the property value of it goes way up, and now the value of that song, if you were to maybe even go sell it one day, is X amount of money. Or if you just keep collecting the revenue that you're getting from your renter or whatever, then like, so that's how I've been thinking of it this whole time is every time I release a song, that song's out there working for me forever.
Yeah.
And some of these songs become Miami mansions, as Mike said. Some of them, you know, they're whatever, they're
Nice suburban home on the corner.
Ni-
in
and
a
a
A
cul-de-sac.
nice
nice,
little
yeah,
townhouse.
little-
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, some a little townhouse, some of them
Little
are,
beach shack.
you know, yeah, little,
Nick's got no
little-
beach shacks in his.
little beach shack. Some, you know, some are like little nice house in a cul-de-sac. Some are like little farm homes, but you know, it's like
Got a couple
every
mansions in there.
every time you put out a song, it's working for you forever, which is why I'm so big on having more darts to throw to hit a bullseye, having more swings to hit in that bat. Just release. It's like every time you do it, you're buying another piece of property.
Yeah, that I was gonna say that also touches on the importance of consistency, which is what you just spoke.
Yeah.
I also think there's this stigma about musicians that if your goal is to make money for some reason, you're at fault. It's like, what other career do you put in the time? Like athletes, like they don't train their whole lives to play hockey, right? Without the goal of making money from it. So it's like, why are musicians almost like
Frowned
down
upon
on?
when they're talking about the business aspect
Yeah,
of it.
like even artists, you create your paintings and you want to go to a gallery and sell it. It's like everything you do in life, like, of course there's some hobbies where you don't, but like this isn't a hobby for us. This is our life.
a career. Yeah.
This is how
Good.
you support me and our son. Like,
Yeah, Draymond Green just had a clip on it. He was because people get so mad at like let's call Kevin Durant. I think it's who he was talking about. They get mad at Kevin Durant for going to the Warriors. They get mad at Kevin Durant for teaming up with Kyrie. You know, blah blah. But he was like, "This is a business." He's like, "We are business people. We're operating a business."
Yeah. No,
Man is calling me on text.
okay, with that, I think this has been a good amount of time for an episode.
Sure.
And then any other questions I have, I'll just roll into another one. Nick, you got time to maybe film one more?
Yeah.
How many minutes are we at showing on the screen?
Dude, I'm
there?
not wearing my glasses.
Oh,
1 second.
sorry. I just want to make sure we're not too short. I felt short.
No, 29 minutes.
Okay, not too bad. I think that was a good one. Awesome. Okay. Well, I guess this concludes this Q&A. Something that Nick and I and Brianna are going to do moving forward is start doing our Q&As live on YouTube. So once we have more info about that, we'll share it. But I think that'd be a cool way to have people in the chat also be asking questions and us answering that live. So
Yep.
stay tuned for
Well,
that.
guys, thanks for tuning in. As always, if you have questions, leave them on our TikTok or Instagram, and we'll include them in a future episode.
Cool. Peace.
Later.
Now I'm still dancing with 2 left feet, yeah. But with a little help, I can move on beat. Now I can moonwalk in 2 socks and groove all week.